Okay, so this is our official introduction for this month IELTS Speak in Net course. Actually, one batch we already started day before yesterday, but um, another batch is about to start. So you can join it. That's why I planned this introduction session, because some members are there asking questions related with the question as well as questions related with the IELTS exam test. So here we are talking about the course little bit, but we are talking about IELTS speaking test more than the course. In that case, you can gain some knowledge about IELTS speaking test as well. In the very beginning, let's talk about IELTS speaking test. Then after we can talk about the course, and this entire session will last longer for 30 minutes maximum. Then you can get some idea. If you have any question related with your speaking level, or maybe I speaking test, you can ask from me at any time. If you're not able to talk up, you can put some message in our chat board. That's also possible. Then I can provide answers for your questions. Let's start then. Okay, the objectives of this session, first thing is understand the exam requirements. This is beneficial for you. Some of you may be there who already have faced the exam before. Some of you may be there who is new for IELTS exam. For them, understanding the exam is really important. Second thing is get an idea about common mistakes. Common mistakes of your speaking level. Whenever you are um, participating to a IELTS speaking test, you are doing some mistakes. So let's discuss about these kind of mistakes. Understand the course structure. Some of you may be there, maybe you already might face to exam before, but still you may don't have some idea about course structure as well as speaking test structure. So here we will talk about course structure as well as the exam structure. Know your capabilities. That's something really required to know, because if you know your capabilities and your limitations, your barriers, then you can break your barriers and you can go with your required band score and set a goal. I will explain about how to set a goal for your dream band score in speaking test. And lastly, start your journey. So start your journey maybe with this course, maybe individually, maybe with some another course. It doesn't matter. Here, if you are waiting till the end, you will gain some knowledge about IELTS speaking test. So that's the important thing for you. So joining in the course, it's something else, but you will get some knowledge by listening to this session. Let's go quickly. Before starting, my name is Lakmal Madhusanka. If you have any question, you can call me by Lakmal. Okay. First thing is regarding the course. Don't worry, only this slide I have include in the very beginning regarding the course. Then after we'll go with IELTS speaking test. Who should enroll in this course? That's one question actually, because most of the time, a lot of students are coming to me who already have faced booked their exam, and they are having very limited time for practice as well as very limited time for aligning their speaking level into their required band score. That's totally okay. If you already have booked your exam, doesn't matter. But if you are a person who is about to book your exam, okay, then you are the ideal person for writing tasks, or maybe for your listening, reading. For those components, you may require very limited time for the practice, because we have practice for academic type writing tasks or maybe grammatical structure since our childhood. But for speaking, it's required some time. Say suppose you have some common mistake, like you are messing with some grammatical structure. You cannot rid of that issue overnight. You require some time for practice continuously and gain your fluency. In that case, for speaking test, don't wait for be prepared. Okay, if you are planning to book your IELTS exam maybe one next month or maybe after few months, even like that, you have to start your practice today onward. I have seen that a lot of students are trying to align their speaking level up to their required band score within very limited time. It's sometimes not possible because they don't have enough time for consume to practice. They are doing some other works, their job, their home works, all those things are there. In that case, that might be really tricky. So If you are a person who is having good enough time, this is really good for you. Apart from that, it doesn't matter your current speaking level. If you are in a beginner level, if you are an intermediate level, or if you are fluent enough within this course, you will learn a lot of things. See, suppose you are a really good fluent speaker, okay? That kind of students are there, but still you have to align your speaking level for IELTS speaking structure. Otherwise, it's really hard to gain some higher marks. You may get some average mark, but for gaining some high level of band score, you require to align your speaking level into IELTS structure. So that also required. In that case, it doesn't matter your level right now. Say suppose you are very beginner level, you cannot even speak English. That also doesn't matter. If you're joining the class, this course, you will learn everything from the very beginning. Okay, because I will treat individually. This is one group class. I am not taking more than 12 number of person for one group. If there is more members, I will divide into several groups. Otherwise, individual attention may not be there. So in that case, you don't need to be worried about your current speaking level. I will treat you individually within our course. As I mentioned, timing. So don't wait for start your practice in terms of your IELTS speaking test. I really don't have issue with your writing tasks, listening tasks, reading tasks. It's required very limited time for the practice sometimes. But for speaking, it's required good enough time for gain your fluency and align your speaking level up to IELTS speaking requirements. Okay, that's the very first thing. I think you now clear about the course, and you may have some idea about should you enroll in the course or not. It's up to you. Let's see. Now we are talking about IELTS speaking test as well as IELTS exam. First thing is band score. If you are a person who already have referred a lot of things, a lot of course materials, or if you are a person who already have faced IELTS exam before, then this is not kind of new thing to you. You know, your oral band score coming as your average of four sections: listening, reading, writing, and speaking. So average band score will be your oral band score. Now this is one important thing. You may already have seen this one, but even though if you have seen this one, you may not having clear idea about this band descriptor. It's called as speaking band descriptor, public version obviously. For writing also they are having some band descriptor, same kind of thing, but we are talking about speaking exam here. They have band score 9 to 0, but I have read off below band score 6, because we are not talking even about band score 5 or likewise. We are talking above band score 6 7, because 5.5 is actually it's not kind of target. It's really easy to gain. Band score 6 6.5 7, these are the kind of common targets of Sri Lankan students. 7.5, sometimes 8 for teachers. They have some requirements like that. So today I'm not going to explain about band descriptor, but I just need to give some common idea. Say suppose you are not about to enroll this course, okay? But if you are planning to do self-study, or if you are planning to enroll some another course, even though like that, just refer this band descriptor. They have four main marking criteria: fluency and coherence, lexical resources, grammatical range and accuracy, pronunciation. Now, assuming your required band score is band score 7, okay, that's your requirements to get in your real exam. But if you are referring the requirements of band score 7, if you are doing any tiny mistake within your exam, then you may fall into band score 6.5 or maybe 6. You cannot get your required band score. That's what I mentioned in the very beginning. Set a goal. When you are setting your goals, you have to refer somewhat higher level of requirement. Obviously, if you require to get band score 7, you have to refer the requirements of band score 8. Under band score 8, they have several requirements clearly under fluency and coherence, lexical resources, grammatical range, and pronunciation. So within this class, what we are doing here, we are practicing continuously while aligning your speaking level up to these band score requirements. Okay, they have a lot of things to learn. Very limited theory part also. They are like part of his speech. We have to know about part of his speech. Apart from that, this course actually I'm not mm, based on too much based on theory parts. I'm always trying to make you speak because gaining your fluency is the first priority. While gaining your fluency, you can learn a lot of vocabularies. You can learn idiomatic phrases, less common vocabularies, and rid of your speaking problems. We'll discuss about speaking problems in coming sessions, coming slides. So this is my request. If going to do self-study or going with any other class, then please refer this band descriptor before you face to exam. Okay, if you are joining with this course, it doesn't matter. We will anyhow learning about band descriptor and its requirements. Now test structure. They have main three parts. I think all of you know already. In part one, we are saying introduction and interview. Actually, in entire IELTS exam, the part one of speaking test considering as the easiest part in entire IELTS exam, because in part one we are getting some familiar questions. Always we are getting some questions which related with everyone's life, and they have 4 to 5 minutes for covering part one questions. We don't need to worry about timing in part one. Exam will handle the timing and number of questions will give, or number of questions will receive to us. It depend on the examiner and the timing we are consuming for each questions. Okay, so here we are not talking about too much regarding each parts, but I'll give some common idea. Always when you are giving answers in part one, try to give some rounded up answers instead of giving some short answers. Like, say suppose you are getting one question like, uh, do you like reading? I'm giving some instant example. So either you may say yes I like reading, or maybe you might say no I don't like reading. But if you are saying yes I like reading or no I don't like reading, they don't have any lexical resources, say suppose good level vocabularies or any high level of grammatical structure, or maybe good pronunciation, because there is just simple words, and any fluency because you are just explaining simple words. In that case, examiner cannot evaluate your speaking if you are giving such a small answer. So always try to round up your answer. For rounding up, they have methods. Don't worry about methods. Simply I can say maybe you can give some reasons, maybe you can give some examples, maybe you can give some details. Likewise, you can round up your answer in part one. Okay, part two. This is the hardest part as per most of Sri Lankan students, but actually it's not like that. Okay, you can see these symbols I have applied before to these boxes. Part one, it's like some mark. It means always you are getting some related questions, some social questions. In part two, I have applied hard mark. It means if you can understand question properly, always they have good content within our mind. Okay, maybe past experience, maybe something we know. It doesn't matter whatever the question we are getting in our real exam, we can deliver good speech if we know the type of question coming in IELTS exam and the patterns in part two. Okay, for part two, they have 1 minute of preparation time. Then after you have to speak up to 2 minutes of time. This 2 minutes of time really important, as well as 1 minute of preparation time. Some students are there, this one minute of time they are just consuming without doing anything. They are just thinking what to say. This 1 minute time is there not to think. Actually we have to think plus arrange our answer. If you remember in band descriptor, under very first marking criteria, fluency and coherence, they have something called coherent. Coherent means the logical flow of your speech. Logical flow means again arrangement of your speech. So you have to arrange your speeches properly. That's why they are giving 1 minute of preparation time in part two. So it's your work to consume this 1 minute time proactively. So you have to know how to keywording. It means how to generate some good level of words within this 1 minute time, and you have to know how many number of keywords are required to cover up 2 minutes of time. It depends with your speed as well as number of sentences you are consuming for explaining one keyword. So there have few factors to evaluate. For evaluating, you have to maybe take in, say, suppose 5 number of cue card answers. Then you can get some average idea. Within our class, actually, we are evaluating this, and we are discussing how many number of keywords required for cover up 2 minutes of time. Whenever it's coming to these 2 minutes of time, they have two problems. Some students are there, they don't have good enough ideas, and they are stopped just before the 2 minutes of time. They are stopped by their self. Okay, that's actually not good to happen, because examiners are generally evaluating whether are we capable enough for speak up to 2 minutes of time continuously without any support or not. So it's our duty to work up to 2 minutes of time. And some another type of students are there, they have a lot of ideas, they cannot gather their ideas, they cannot compress their ideas into 2 minutes of time. So they are trying to explain a lot of things, but at the very beginning they are coming into their main point, examiner stop you there because they have consumed their 2 minute time. In that case, always we should practice to compress or maybe expand our ideas into 2 minutes of time. That's why I have mentioned time management. Time management come in between in part 2 mostly. And part 3, two-way discussion, I have applied this mic symbol just because of this conversational type of part. In part 1, part 3, you can see for both parts, they are having 45 minutes for cover up these questions. But in part 1, we are getting some familiar questions. In part 3, we are getting some link question to our cue card question. But in part 3, we have to think widely. We have to give some general ideas instead of our personal opinions. Okay. So there have some difference in between part 1 and part 3. That's about the test structure. If you have any question, leave me a message in our chat box, then we can discuss. Now, common mistakes which most of the Sri Lankan students are doing. Okay, I have categorized this based on my personal experience throughout my teaching history. These are the most common mistakes which is facing by Sri Lankan students. First thing is grammar mistakes. When it is coming to grammar mistakes, there have so many type of grammar mistakes. Among them, very common one is messing with tenses. Sometimes they are talking in past tense. Suddenly they are putting verbs in present tense. Whenever they are talking in present tense, they are telling something in past tense. To happen this issue, there have several reasons. First thing is they cannot understand which tense they should speak up while they are getting some question. Second thing is, as a habit, they are using several tenses in between. It's a kind of habit which they cannot stop, and they know that it's a kind of mistake, but they cannot stop. So within our class, we are treating that kind of issues. Second thing is, most of the students are facing some grammar mistakes. They are messing with pronouns, like instead of he, they are saying she. Instead of she, they are saying he. Instead of him, they are saying her. Likewise, they are messing with some pronouns. Apart from that, some other grammar mistakes like wrong application of prepositions, uh, wrong application of some another type of linking words, and wrong application of articles like and, the. Those are very common grammar mistakes within Sri Lankan students, which I have seen. Second most common mistake is, actually this is not one mistake, this is one problem which Sri Lankan students are facing. Think in Sinhala. This is happen with beginner level of students, obviously not with intermediate or fluent students. Beginner level students are facing this issue. They are thinking Sinhala whenever they are getting one question. So think in Sinhala means obviously they have to translate into English and explain in English. This is containing a lot of issues, actually a lot of disadvantages. First thing is, while they are translating, it's required some translation time into their mind. It means they are keeping so many gaps in between, so many pauses in between. Definitely they will have filler sounds, so many struggle. effort to explain. If you remember under band descriptor, under band score 7 and above, they have effortless speech. So if you require to gain band score 7 and above, you have to have effortless speech. Effortless speech cannot have if you are translating Sinhala into English. So we have to treat this one. We will discuss actually this one later on. This is Think in Sinhala. This is the one which I am about to explain in this free introduction as one gift to you. So you will get some ideas how to rid of this issue. And third thing is parroting. What's called parroting actually? Parroting means you are just telling something which you have read somewhere or which you have watched somewhere. It's not actually your own ideas. Okay, parroting simply means while you're explaining something, it feels like not natural speech. Instead of thinking Sinhala, this is the main point. Whichever ideas or whichever good components you are applying into a speech, it doesn't matter if a speech is not feels like one natural speech. Reading and speaking, they have two difference, right? In our school time we are reading, even though when we are presenting some speech in our morning assembly, it seems like we are reading because in the previous day we are practicing by reading some sentences and we are practicing those paragraphs. Then same thing we are parroting in front of the assembly. Same thing we cannot do in IELTS exam. Definitely examiner will understand that you have practice and you are just memorizing ideas and you are delivering memorized ideas. So you will not get any, we will not get any higher marks for that. Only thing we can do, we can refer model answers, we can watch some model answers throughout YouTube or wherever. We can get some ideas from that. Instead of getting ideas, we can get some good vocabularies, their grammatical structures, everything. While getting those things, we have to deliver our own speeches, own ideas with our natural speaking, which means we should not consider this examiner as one examiner. We should consider the examiner as one friend of us. When we are talking with our friends, we are just keeping our natural speech, right? We are not putting any extra words or we are not putting any formal words, right? Some students are they are using some less common vocabularies which is we are not using while we are speaking, but most of the time we are using for writing. So those are not the vocabularies we should use in our speaking tests. Some informal, some common vocabularies. Common means some vocabularies which you are using while you are speaking. Okay, we will learn those things within our class. And second, next thing is lack of ideas. Some students are facing this issue actually. Whenever they are getting one question, they don't have any ideas what to say. For rid of this issue, you have to be familiar with IELTS questions. Okay, the best thing you can do is refer Makage's book. I will tell one thing. In these days, they have a speaking test. I think you know. Since 31st last month, still this continuing. A lot of my students are facing to IELTS speaking test these days, and they are sharing their questions which they come through their IELTS exam. Up to now, all of the questions I received from my students are containing in current version of Makage's book, final version of September to December. I didn't receive any single question which didn't contain in that Makage's book. So you can understand Makage's book is one reliable resource which you can refer for the practices IELTS speaking test. Okay, if you are doing self-study, if you are going with any other course, you can refer Makage's book without any doubt. Definitely you will get one question which is mentioned in Makage's book, or at least something related with the questions in Makage's book. You can definitely manage. Okay. Lack of confidence. Actually, for this, you have to speak with others. You have to speak in front of group of people. And within our class, we will discuss. We will speak in front of others. So you will definitely gain your confidence. I will definitely motivate you. But if you are going with some other classes, so if you are doing self study, just try to build up your confidence. Always be satisfied with your current level of speech. That's the maximum you can do. There may have so many mistakes which I explained earlier, but still that's the maximum of you. So be satisfied with your maximum level while you are gaining your fluency, gaining your knowledge. Okay. And one more thing for English vocabulary, Um, for this, actually, we don't require to have lot of vocabularies. We just need to have within our mind some vocabularies which we can commonly use with IELTS speaking questions. They have set of questions, something similar. So you can find out some less common vocabularies and you can apply while you are speaking. Vocabularies means actually not only less common vocabularies, idiomatic phrases, facial verbs. So all those things are there. If a person who can apply these things within your speeches, then you can gain some higher marks. One more thing I should explain whenever it's coming to a English vocabulary. In IELTS speaking test, actually, there have main two things we should understand. Sorry. First thing is, they have something to avoid doing, like these mistakes, grammar mistakes or parroting kind of things. And they have some more things to apply while we are speaking. Apply means some high level of structure, high level of sentences, and less common vocabulary, idiomatic phrases, paraphrasing. Those are some value added for our speeches. So if you are a beginner level person, if you are a beginner level speaker, first thing is you have to rid of your mistakes while you are learning these value addeds to your speech. If you are a fluent speaker, now you can consider about adding these values into your speech. So it depends with your current speaking level. Okay, these are the very common mistakes which I have seen with Sri Lankan students. Actually, this is not the only thing; they have some more, but commonly I have list out these things. If you have any questions, you can ask from me. Next thing, now we are talking about this second problem, think in Sinhala. Let's see what we can do. Speaking naturally. Speaking naturally simply means we are using our natural tone. Okay. First thing is embrace a conversational tone. So always our IELTS speaking text should be conversational. Our speaking level should be conversational. We should not deliver some answers like robotic answer or maybe artificial answer. Always keep your natural speech. Whenever you are speak with your friend or maybe family member, or say suppose whenever you are speak in Sinhala, same kind of tone. We are saying that intonation, same kind of intonation. Try to keep with your real exam. Then you can show you are a speaker which is using conversational tone. Practice regularly. For this one, actually, they have some problems. Some say suppose there is one nurse here in this session. I don't know if there is one. Always nurses are complaining that they don't have enough time as they are working in ship base. My theory is you don't require to have any specific time for learning English. While you are doing your other works, you can learn English. Understand? Say suppose you are doing your work in hospital. While you are taking care of some patient or maybe while you are checking some diagnosis card, then you can think in English. That's the way you have to start thinking English. Instead of thinking Sinhala, you can think everything in English. Say suppose you are cooking at home. While you're cooking, you can think, oh, now I have to put this ingredient into this meal. Now I have to cut these leaves. Likewise, start thinking English while you are doing your daily routine. It's not required to have any specific time. Once after you start to do that, then you can consume some time and practice with IELTS speaking type of questions. Work on pronunciation. When it comes to pronunciation, actually, accent is not kind of requirements in IELTS exam. We don't need to have any native speakers accent, but we should have clear pronunciation as well as we should not mispronounce English words. For doing that, they have lot of things to learn like intonation, word distressing, your rhythm, like kind of things are there. If you have enough time, you can be familiar with those things. If you don't have time for doing these things, at least we can work on your clear pronunciation. Develop fluency through topic based practice. For IELTS speaking text, actually we should practice with IELTS kind of topics or maybe questions. We If we are taking some general topics, we will learn those things and we will practice with these things. But whenever you are getting some IELTS, mostly IELTS part 2 UCAT questions as well as part 3 questions, you will struggle to find out answers as well as deliver your answers because you are not familiar with IELTS type of questions. Always be familiar with IELTS type of questions. Avoid lengthy pauses. For avoiding lengthy pauses, actually, you have to gain your fluency. Okay. Say, suppose you are a person who is always thinking Sinhala and translate into English. Then first thing is, as I mentioned earlier, try to generate one English environment around you. We actually in Sri Lanka we don't have any English environment. Always we are using Sinhala in our workplace, in our home, in when we are in public place. Always we are using Sinhala. We cannot do that. We are helpless. But we can generate our English environment around us. Instead of watching Sinhala movies, you can watch English movies. Instead of listening Sinhala songs, you can watch you can listen English songs. Say suppose you are a person who don't have time for those things, at least while you are doing your daily routine, as I mentioned, try to think in English everything. At the very beginning, you can think individual words. Then after you can try to generate some small clauses. Then you can go with complete sentences and complete ideas. That's how you can build up your think in English and build up your English environment around you. Then definitely you can gain your fluency and your mind will practice to generate ideas in English. Okay. Expand your vocabulary. Vocabulary means, as I mentioned, vocabularies which required for explaining IELTS questions. Okay. Whenever you are giving answers for IELTS type of questions, then you should have some vocabularies to explain these things. Some idiomatic phrases, likewise. Listen attentively to the examiner. This is really required. Whenever we are conducting mock test also, I have seen a lot of times some students are there, they are just listening to the first part of the question. Then they are starting their answer, but those ideas are completely off topic because they haven't understood the question properly. This is always happening. So if you couldn't understand the question, politely ask from the examiner to repeat the question and try to grab the idea, then deliver your answer. Say, suppose there is one question you cannot understand the entire idea. Okay, then you can guess what might be the question and deliver your answer by your guessing. But at the very beginning, you should mention that I really don't have idea what's meaning by this. In that case, I think this mean this thing. So I'm going to explain this. Likewise, you can give some idea to the examiner that you are facing some trouble with understanding, but you are delivering your answer based on your assumption. Then examiner cannot reduce any marks. Be prepared for follow-up questions. Follow-up questions are the missing part for most of the students. Part 3 questions, we are practicing a lot of cue cards. Mostly we are practicing part one somewhat, but follow-up questions we are not practicing at all. Believe me, follow-up questions are the more tricky question than cue card. So whenever you are getting one cue card question, along with the cue card, try to cover follow-up questions of the cue card. Then you will be familiar with follow-up questions. Actually, follow-up questions, they have several type of follow-up questions. Comparative type of questions, statement type of questions, yes, no type of questions, differences mentioning. So they have type of questions to practice. Control nervousness. Definitely you have to you have to be in mock test or be familiar with IELTS speaking test. If you are doing mock test with someone else, then you can rid of nervous, then you can face to exam properly. Mock test and feedbacks. Actually, mock test we can conduct with even our friends, but the thing is we should have good feedback. For writing, listening, and reading, we can evaluate ourselves. If there is any grammar mistake, we can find out of our writing papers, writing answers, essays. But listening and reading, we can evaluate our exact marks, right? Then we can understand which level we are in. But for the speaking one, we cannot evaluate ourselves sometimes. If you are a person who have self-evaluation ability, then you can do. Otherwise, there should have someone to guide and giving feedback and giving some ideas to rectify your issues. That's why I believe speaking test is more tricky than writing tasks. If you are searching English, what is the most difficult component in IELTS exam? Most of the websites are saying writing is the most tricky one, but I believe speaking one is the most tricky one, not writing. For writing, you can practice with self study. You don't need to go with any classes. But for speaking, I'm not saying me, I'm saying you should have someone who is having somewhat good idea about IELTS speaking type of questions as well as level of your speaking. Okay, let's go with next one. Now we are talking about the course. Actually, as I mentioned, I have to finish this within few minutes. What will you learn? IELTS speaking based on syllabus. Now I think you have good idea what's called by IELTS speaking based on syllabus. It means I have prepared the syllabus based on your IELTS speaking requirements, band script and its requirement, IELTS speaking patterns, exam tips and methods. They have so many methods to apply. By applying methods, actually we can give some good answers without putting any effort, extra effort. Okay, as I mentioned in part one, I already mentioned, instead of giving some simple answers, you can round up your answers always. For doing that, they have methods. For part two, they have some several methods. Part three, they have some methods. Likewise, applying method might be easy way to deliver some good level of answer. And exam tips, they have so many tips. Instead of be practice with IELTS type of questions, you have to understand how to impress the examiner. Okay, you can understand that your writing tasks and other two components are kind of written tasks, something academic type of components. But when it's coming to speaking, obviously examiner having some marking criteria to give marks, but it's still it's based on him or her ideas. So it's always good to avoid criticizing some religious or maybe political parties, because we don't know what kind of mind setup is there with the examiner. They also human, right? So we should avoid something like that. So those kind of things are considering under exam tips, and we will learn a lot of things, how to impress the examiner, how to have good first impression. Those kind of things you should learn to gain some higher marks, because this is speaking test. This is like one interview. This is not kind of written tasks. Continuous mock test and speaking practice. Even though we are learning here in theory parts, still we are conducting at least one mock test whenever we are delivering theory type of session. In the same day, at least I am conducting one mock cue card practice to make you speak. Other days we are conducting a lot of mock tests, and continuously we will gain your fluency while teaching as speaking type of questions as well as requirements. Time management is there. Time management really required for cue card question as well as part 3 question. For part 1, it's too much not required, because always we can deliver good level of answer in part 1. And keywording means consuming this 1 minute time proactively. If you are able to generate some good keyword, then definitely you can manage your time as well as you can deliver good answer in part 2. Okay, these are the things generally we will learn within this month. But top of that, we will evaluate your speaking level as well as we will align your speaking level up to your required band score, actually somewhat higher. Because as I mentioned, if you will do some mistakes within your exam, even though you have to get your required band score, in that case we will try to align your speaking level somewhat higher than your required band score. This is how we will conduct this class. Apart from that, this is about the course duration 1 month, and time in an hours. Actually, they have several batches. This is about the very first batch. Every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, 8:30 p.m. to 10:30 p.m. And I have planned one daytime day class as well. If you have such concern, let me know. Day class also will be there, and maybe two batches will be there. Then second batch will be there Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday, 8:30 p.m. to 10:30. So you can pick one as you prefer. Cue card and mock test at every Sundays. It means we will evaluate your homeworks. You can give um, some cue card answers at audio recordings, and we will evaluate by weekends. Apart from that, they have some pre sessions. As you be in my pre group, you know that They have so many free sessions throughout weekdays. You can join with that as well. These days, I didn't conduct free sessions just because of this IELTS speaking test are conducting these days. So I've been busy with those students, but definitely we will restart free sessions as well. Um, Regarding payments, the cost fee is 6,000. I think if you are a person who already have join with any other class, they have so many courses actually for IELTS exam, but most of the courses are based on all four components. I think you know that you may have some experience, and they are charging some higher amounts. But the thing is, whenever you are joining to the class, you will learn about writing, reading mostly, sometimes listening as well, but always you are missing speaking part in those courses. They are not covering speaking parts thoroughly. That's why I have made this specific speaking course just for your speaking enhancement. So I believe this amount is quite lower amount when considering other courses in Sri Lanka. For register, you can register by paying, and once after finish this course, I will put payment maybe within our group. If you are um, willing to join with the class, just let me know, then I will share payment details by showing payment slip. You can join with the session, you can join with the course, and this is all about the course as well as the IELTS speaking test. We will learn more about the speaking test and its requirement throughout our course. So now it's your time. You can either speak up or you can ask questions via our chat box if you have any questions. I will consume only 1 more minute. If you don't have any questions, I will wind up the session from here. Actually, if you have any question related with your speaking level also, you can ask right now. This is not about only the course. This is about your problems. You can ask anything and get clarifications. Okay, Hasita, definitely. Just leave me one message once after finish the session. Yes. Is there any questions? Deal, I think you have unmuted your microphone. Any question? Okay. Then I think that's all. Anyways, I will upload this video into YouTube and I will share the link. If you have any friend, you can share with them as well. Apart from that, you can ask from current students in my courses and some past students also there in our playgroup. So some students already went to Europe countries and some students already faced their exam. So you can ask about the marks they have got through their exam as well as the quality of the course. You can reach me at any time via WhatsApp. Just call me or leave me one message. Then you can get any more information as you prefer. And this course will start mostly tomorrow or maybe by coming Monday. So don't wait too much time if you require to join with the session. Otherwise, you will not be able to join with this very first batch. You will have to wait for the second batch. There have maybe around um, 7 or 8 seats available within this batch. So it's your time to register. Then, as I promised, I have finished the session within required time. So have a good day, have a good night. We'll meet in our 1 month course. Okay.